Hey, love, before we go any further, just know this. I'm not here to be someone you follow, and I'm not here to teach you how to live your life. I'm walking my path, and I'm speaking it out loud as I go. And your path is going to look different, as it should. But sometimes, when something real is spoken, it cuts through the noise just enough for you to hear yourself again. So if something in this hits or lands or stirs something in you, I invite you to pause there. Not because I said it, but because you felt it. You don't need to rush to change anything. You don't need to turn this into a plan. Just don't ignore yourself, because your life isn't built by following someone else's voice. It's built by trusting your own. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and stay rooted in yourself while you listen. This is just a conversation.
We Where we get weird, like it's just a thing.
Oh no, we will get weird. Like that won't ever change. We're
No,
not
I'm
above
meaning
that.
like we're just gonna keep talking and then eventually we'll be like, we probably should just be recording this.
I did have an idea of something I wanted to talk to you about
Yeah,
because I feel so you were born, I want to say the same year I was born, 87, right?
88.
88. Oh, so I'm older than you.
Yes.
Okay. Only by a touch though. I thought
Yeah,
you were the same age as me. And then your Andrew is how much younger than you?
5 years.
5 years. And my Andrew is 7 years younger. So
Okay.
we have something in common where we married a younger Andrew, and
Yeah.
we are both kind of at this cusp. Okay, here's the thing, Miss Sarah, is I don't know what
Uh-huh.
that was. Did
I
I boop or did you boop?
I booped, so I'm gonna turn my boops off.
Girl, you better stop yo booping.
Let's stop the booping.
Stop yo
Focus.
booping.
No booping. We're
No
done.
booping on me today. No, so you and I are both around the same age, and I read a study that was like, the average lifespan is around like, late 70s, early 80s,
Right.
yet people usually have like what they consider their midlife crisis in their 50s, like right
Yeah.
around there, but that's well beyond their halfway mark. And that
Yeah.
we are technically at our halfway mark right now in our late 30s. So, is this something that you've ever put much thought to? Like, oh, I am probably statistically at my halfway mark. This is my midlife, and should I have a crisis about this?
I kind of have, but
Okay.
not in the same sense because I don't freak about ages like
Hmm.
Andrew does. Andrew's got a big thing about age. Like him and my nephew both, they when they turned 30, like it was a whole thing. And I was over here like, I'm 30, woo! It's
Yeah.
fine. But when I started going through the massive shit that I went through back in 2020, I definitely called that a midlife crisis.
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know if this is midlife technically. Like, I know they say that it's supposed to be in like your 40s or 50s, but I was like, I'm just ahead of the game because this is definitely a midlife crisis and I'm blowing it all up.
Yeah. Well, and we have it out of sync. So I think you're right to say this is a midlife crisis. It's not a quarter
Exactly.
life crisis. Have you had one of those, a quarter life crisis, like in your 20s?
I didn't, not really, because I was raising babies. I was too busy living their lives instead of my own.
And I was too busy being like a gross, stupid mess. Like that's the thing. I didn't have any time to like introspect and think about the world and my spirituality and what it means to be alive. And I
Right.
feel like you and I spend a lot of time thinking about consciousness and reality and life and the world.
Oh,
And how much do you think, like, of all the stuff that you've been going through, all the transformations, how much of it do you think is connected to, like, oh, I'm halfway through with my life?
I, yes, and I think a lot of it is because, like, we all have choice, is what I'm realizing.
Hmm.
And I gave my choice away a long time ago without even realizing it because
Hmm.
I didn't trust my own choice. So
Hmm.
even though like my facade was I'm independent and I can do it all and don't worry, I've got it. Deep down, I always went and talked it out with other people. And then I would decide from what they said. Even if it was like, and it was even worse if I went to like five different people and then they all had five different things. It was like, well, I'm gonna choose
Crisis time.
one of those.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't trust myself. But I think the older I get, the more my give a fuck dart just goes away. And I'm starting to realize like life is too damn short. I'm watching people I love die.
Yeah.
I'm watching kids I care about do things that I wish no kid ever even thought of. And
Yeah.
those things have made such an impact on like me looking at my own life and what it means to be alive that I then started looking at the patterns of like, how did we get here? Why are we here? What is this actually causing? And, you know my kids, everyone knows my story at this point. Like they made me like I lived for them, so they made me realize like I'm a perfect parent trying to be and here I am failing. So it's like might as well
Well,
fuck it up some more.
talking about like not listening to yourself and listening to everybody else, when you're a parent, especially a mom, there's so much pressure to be like,
No.
you have to be this model parent, you have to be this model mother. And if you deviate from that path, if you freestyle just a little bit and do it your own way, trust your own gut, you're a bad mom or you're, neglecting your children, whatever.
Can I tell you, like that's been so loud right now.
Yeah,
There
tell me about that.
Ugh, it's been so fucking loud because I have hit a point again.
Yeah.
Back in 2020, I hit an uncomfortable moment, made me grow. I know it was all for the best, like, right? It was all great. I'm in one of those again. And it's like, I know I'm choosing to be in this. I know I'm making myself uncomfortable so that way I can evolve, I can grow. It's all happening for me. At least that's my choice. I make everything happen for me. I could
Hmm.
also sit and be like, this just fucking sucks and like, woe is me bullshit, but like, that's not going to help me. That's going to keep me stuck and fuck that. This life is too short for that. So I've been making a lot of choices.
You know,
I've
I'm,
been,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. So I won't, because, there's an audience, so I won't go into the specific who, which I think you don't want to go into either. But what
No,
I will say is it reminds, because we had this conversation, we talked about this, and
somewhat,
I,
but there's been louder shit that happened since then.
are you fucking kidding? Anyway,
I'm just saying, it's crazy.
it's wild that this is a group of adults. So, like, I'm trying to kind of enlighten the situation without giving anything away that might cause some controversy. But what I will say is, I do think we keep talking about finding your own voice and listening to it, trusting your intuition and trusting your gut, and
Yeah,
having faith that what you want, what you are telling yourself is right, is right. To hear that and
yeah,
not go by what anyone else is saying. And I do think that you grew up in an environment where there were so many other loud voices, like you're saying, who were like, Sarah, it's your time to lay it down and do what we say, better comply. We have the big stick and you don't. So you better do what we say or else you're ungrateful or you're being naughty or rebellious or whatever. And
yeah,
I'm wondering because there are tricks that you learn when you get older on how to handle these kinds of situations. You realize, like, oh no, I am going to set my boundaries and
yeah,
let them know, like, okay, these are the things you can do and these are the things you can't do. What you
yeah.
can't do is tell me to do the things that you're telling me to do right now, because that's not going to result in anything.
Right.
But we can collaborate. You know what? Let's brainstorm together. Let's work together to figure out how to solve these problems that you think I'm just going to lay down my life for while you're
Right.
sitting on your butt doing nothing except sending me rude texts. That is not action. You know what I mean? Like just
I
being a
do.
dick to people, that's that's nothing managerial. And I hate that people have this conception that it is. You know what I mean?
Well, but of course we do. That's
Yeah.
how like society has been moving for fucking centuries. Like, okay, survival dictates that we have to go with logic, and like the logical answer is like, okay, we have a family. Back in the day, kids had to be quiet because if they were quiet, then we didn't get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger and killed the entire family. Like that makes sense logically.
Yeah.
But along the path, people got so set in their comfortability that it's like we refuse to let go of things that actually no longer serve and are actually like life is showing us that they have a chokehold over us. And for
Yeah.
example, like the biggest one I keep noticing is you're not allowed to live your life out loud if it's going to make one of your family members uncomfortable. And
You know
it
what?
pisses
Oh,
me off. Like we do not, and I said this the other day, and I don't know if it's kind or not, but it feels kind to me because it's like calling out the hypocrisy of like, why are we letting the weakest link of the family dictate the comfortability of if we evolve or not?
yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean that meanly. I'm just looking at it like I look at my I'm not gonna say downfalls because like I am who I am. I've made mistakes. I've made fucking plenty of them. I
Hmm.
still am making plenty of them. I just screamed at my kids earlier. Like it, I'm human. But the difference between me and some others that I know and people that I see all around me is I hear all the time. Nobody wants to be accountable. There's entitlement all over, and nobody wants to be accountable. But how many times have I seen adults not go up to their children or to their loved ones and say, you know what? How I spoke, even if that is how I felt, even if I am justified, how I spoke to you, I didn't like that. That
Well,
wasn't kind. Like, there's no fucking repair. There's just, well, I'm justified and I'm the adult. I'm the older one. So I get to talk how I want and you just get to deal with it. Like, fuck that. I'm an adult too.
yeah.
I get to have respect as well. I get treated with the same fucking respect and kindness. But it's like we've all gotten stuck in this mentality of we must sacrifice for love, and it's always at the hierarchy. But then when do you get to be a part of that hierarchy in your own fucking life when you're drowning? And then, like, we talked about this the other day, and this is where I'm getting frustrated in my like immediate reality right now
Yeah.
when those people that have been keeping themselves quiet or invisible or small to make everyone else comfortable because they love so deeply, when they finally hit their breaking point and they're like, you know what? I'm fucking exhausted. I need a minute. That's when everyone jumps in and says, well, you're not enough. Why are you doing this? You don't fucking love us. And then we wonder why our suicide rates are fucking up because, okay, I finally tell you with my words that I need fucking help, and then you tell me I'm not enough, and then you go and I do the unthinkable, and then you're left saying, well, I wish they would have asked for help. Like they fucking did.
So this is something that I feel like you keep touching on, and this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately because, like,
Right?
I think
It's
about
so
how
loud.
loud. And so there was something, I think I told you about this. Like, me and Andrew got in an argument about a cat because he wanted another cat, and I felt like we weren't ready for a fourth cat. And did I tell you about this? And like,
I love that so
I
much.
had an anxiety attack and I just screamed at him in the car. And I was like, no, because I kept thinking, I know I'm worried. I know I think I can't do this. But, someone said, happy wife, happy life, Jared. And I
Ugh.
was just like, you're right. Like, I just got to swallow this and just kind of let it be. And, but there's two places you can speak from, I feel. And
Mhm.
it's either you're speaking from your intuition or you're speaking from your fear.
Yep.
And you keep pointing out all the things that you're hearing from these people, these loud people causing chaos in your life, and everything they're saying. If you don't do this, you don't love me. If you don't, blah, 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 all these accusations. Accusations are logical conclusions that are based on fear. And I think that's the thing is that these people are so scared. And though they are giving you a lot of pain right now, hurt people, what they're really looking for, but they don't know how to ask for it, is comfort. You
Yep.
know, I don't know what that was. But
Oh,
there's spirits among us now.
spirits
Um,
is speaking.
yeah, but yeah, the lights just flashed and everything. Um, but no, I think that you talk so much about hearing yourself, listening to yourself, trusting yourself. And then I think there are a lot of people who are like, well, I was doing that and now everyone's mad at me. And it's like, well, was that you? or was that your fear?
Right.
Because your fear is a separate voice. You are not the things you are afraid of.
Right. But there's also, I think okay. So I just had this conversation with one of my kiddos today,
Mm,
actually, because there we've had a lot of talk about like influence. And, you know, if somebody does something because I did it, like, am I the reason? Like, am I the influence? Did I make that person? Is it my fault?
hmm
And my answer, whether anyone agrees, disagrees, doesn't matter. My answer always to that is what people do to their bodies or in their lives is always their choice.
Yes.
100% full, like nonstop. I don't care what's going on around them. It is always someone's personal choice.
hmm
I think we've gotten skewed sometimes because, we mask through love, thinking that we need to jump in and rescue or save our loved ones because we know better and they're screwing up their life. But deep down, that's their fear talking of they are not trusting in that person's life force. They're not trusting in that person's ability to live a life for them.
Well, and as someone who, I have been in a relationship with an addict, you can tell yourself that you can stop them. You can tell yourself that, they just need love, or they need help, or they need attention, or they need this. And true and not true,
Yep.
but ultimately the fix isn't going to come from you when it
Right.
comes to something like that. If they're really in something that deep, really, no matter what it is,
No,
you're
yeah.
not put on this earth to fix other people. You're put on
Yeah.
this earth to fix yourself. And I think that's such a hard lesson to learn. But I think
Right.
really what we're talking about right now are all the things that you learn after living half of your life,
Yes.
and looking back and being like, oh, wow, what a fool was I, you know?
Well, not even just, I don't know if I'd look at it as a fool. Like, I look back now
Mhm.
and there was moments when, like, I don't know, when I was 15, I blamed myself for stuff for a long time that I shouldn't have, which is why I gave away my choice. I let other
Yeah.
people make decisions instead of trusting me.
hmm
But it's like everything I did to the best of my ability with the tools I had at the time.
Yeah.
Because had I known better, I would have. And
hmm
like that's just the reality. And the past only exists because I make it so. And I feel like that's what I'm seeing now is I am living so much in the present. I am like trying to really just not live in a place of old identities, old patterns, old things that, were past me, past things that I chose to survive or whatever. I'm not living there. And I'm not even living in the future of the what ifs. I'm living in the right now, every single second. What can I choose that's for the highest of my good right now? Am I overwhelmed? Okay, that's my body telling me that I need to take a step back because
Yeah.
I am accountable for my own life. I don't expect anyone to jump in and save me. But
Yeah.
then when I do that, it is loud. My old outside identity, my reality shows me all the people responding to that or reacting, let's be real.
Yeah.
'Cause if they were
Yeah.
responding, they would probably be getting curious. But it's like, of course they are, because that is the identity I have held since I was a kid with them. Of
You
course I'm triggering them.
Of course. And I think that learning how to stand up for yourself, this is what I've seen throughout my mid-range life so
Right.
far, is people learning to stand up for themselves causes a lot of chaos.
It
It
so does.
really mixes things up because
It
it
so
really
does.
throws people off, especially those people who have been entwined in them in some toxic
Mm.
way. So when they try to finally clean up that relationship, they're like, what the hell are you doing? I really liked this. This benefited me. I got to boss you around. And,
Exactly.
all this. And they're like, this can't stop. This was good. I liked this.
Yeah.
It's like they found out someone's discontinuing their favorite flavor of ice cream. They're upset. They're throwing a tantrum about it. But you can't feel bad for that. like I think about how much I would try to stand up for myself and then kind of recoil when I saw this blowback. Like, well, Jared, I always could trust you with this. And people would always come at me with these gaslighting, just like these arguments that were so convincing. Like, but Jared, it was so
Oh,
great when I bossed you around. It worked for everybody. Like the system,
yeah.
it functions, and it's like, well, not for me,
Exactly.
and like, so I want to know this, Sarah, is when do you feel you began to really be led by your gut, your body? You call it your body. When
I do.
you followed the instructions of your body, when did that begin for you?
I mean, I started learning its language back in 2020.
It was a process. It wasn't
It
like a
was.
single
It
moment.
was not. It was
Yeah.
definitely learning a language of, because before 2020,
Yeah.
I very much just reacted to my environment at any given moment. Like I didn't choose consciously. I just let everything outside of me dictate where I was
Yeah.
and made choices based off of that, which technically is a part of how I roll. Like I can live a really good life doing that.
Yeah.
But what I wasn't doing was acknowledging when my body would then say, hey, actually, like you've given way too fucking much. And then I would hermit. So like
Mhm.
I saw this cycle in my body of I would go, 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 go. I would do all the things. And then all of a sudden for like sometimes 4 weeks to 6 weeks at a time, I wouldn't leave my house unless I had to. I would binge watch TV all fucking day, doing bare minimum. My kids were always taken care of. Like that never, I never dropped the ball in any of that. But
Yeah.
like I wasn't doing dishes very well. I wasn't cleaning my house well. Like I was bare minimum, like I'm going to binge watch these shows and I'm going to live life through these other people. It's like I had to stop living my own life because I was so fucking bone tired. And then as I started realizing like this, I don't like this. This doesn't actually feel good. I was judging myself also.
Yeah. Yeah.
I finally realized that when I started actually listening to my body and honoring when something actually wasn't mine,
Yeah.
that's when my body stopped sabotaging me. That's when my body stopped yelling at me to, hey, you need to like rest and relax a minute. You need to like get away from fucking society for a while. Or you need, I would get sick as fuck
Yeah.
to make me stop moving. And it's like, I'm designed to move. I love movement, but I cannot move at the expense of my body.
Yeah.
And that is not what society teaches.
It's so well, okay. So I know you, but we have an audience who might not. And so it's so weird having these conversations. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Mhm.
I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea because we're talking to each other knowing the context. And like,
Here.
I do want to cycle back to like how your relationship was with your children before you kind of snapped into it and you're like, wait a minute, my body's telling me something different because you did everything for
Oh,
your
fucking
kids.
everything.
So I don't like, you said I yelled at my kid earlier today or whatever, and like I know what that means because I've experienced these conversations where one of them walks in, they're like, "Mom, like I can't put my sandal on," and it's like, "Yes, you can," and then they're like, "Oh, you're right," and I remember the one, it was Easy Mac, remember?
I
And
do.
she was like, "Mom,
She
make
had
my
a
Easy
whole
Mac," and you
uproar.
were like, "You are what, 6 years old?"
Strong and capable. She's
You are,
8, actually.
she's 8 years old, you are strong and capable, you can operate a microwave. And but it was so interesting because she was on camera, I saw her face and she's
Yeah.
like, I can, you know and I know that there is that trauma informed, that hurt, that fearful, the damaged part of you who hates doing that, because
Yeah.
I think that there still is this part of you that wants to just carry all the weight of the world for your children, like you tried your best to back in the day.
She
But
isn't as much there as she
yeah,
was. You're 100% correct.
yeah,
Yep.
but it's interesting because I see not only you benefit in this transformation, but them. And it's
Oh, for
interesting
sure.
how they really fight against it because, of course, it's lovely having someone do everything for you. But
Wow.
it's so interesting to see them realize when, oh, wait, I can do this for myself. And you are now creating adults. You're not creating just children who need their mommy. You're
Yeah.
creating adults who can take care of themselves. And it's a completely different style of parenting. You know what I mean?
Well, and that right there is why I did it. Because
Yeah.
remember, you and I've had this and I have had these conversations on the channel, but the realization is these kids aren't hearing what I'm preaching to them every day,
Yeah.
telling them all the things. They're watching what kind of life I'm living.
Hmm.
And I was living a life of sacrifice. I
Yeah.
sacrificed my body, my time, my everything for them because that's what I thought love was as a parent.
Yeah.
And it's like, I finally realized, like, no, it can't be. Because then they're like, we're just perpetuating the same cycle of like, once you become a parent, your life ends. And like, why? Because then they do the same thing. And then we end up with these parents who are in their fucking 60s and 70s and 80s that hate their fucking life because they never lived it.
And these people who hate their kids
And
because
they
they're
so
like, you
hate
ruined
their
my life.
kids.
Yeah.
They're
And it's,
so resentful. And then they won't admit that they're resentful. And I'm sitting there like, of course you are, because you never fucking lived.
yeah, and I mean, so I mean, I come from queer culture, and I will say that there are times when it's like I've heard stories of people being like, "Oh, well, yeah, I adopted a kid, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing Molly." And it's like, well, you should stop doing
Well,
that. Like birthdays and special occasions, but hire a sitter. But there is, yes, a level of sacrifice that is mandatory if you are going to raise a child, but that
no, no,
isn't
no, 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 no.
to the
Let's
depths
rephrase
of
that.
who I am,
Listen,
you
we got
know?
to rephrase that because
Yeah,
it's not sacrifice, it's still choice.
dive into that. What do you mean by
Okay.
choice?
Okay. So the thing that I have realized is there is two sides of society right now. And I'm
Hmm.
not meaning the fucking Democrats, Republicans, all that bullshit. Like
Oh, whatever. Yeah,
I don't play that game.
yeah,
But there is two sides of society. There are the fixers and saviors, and there are the ones who are being fixed and saved.
true.
Which I hate to say it, but if you got to use a label, it's claiming victimhood, claiming I need someone else to jump in and live my life for me.
Which isn't the same as being an authentic victim.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
the word
seeking that out.
itself is, but it's like I'm choosing to let someone else come and live this for me because I don't trust my own self to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I get it. I
Oh, yeah.
100% get it. But that's what I am like experiencing in my own reality is like there's always one person that jumps in and does it all. And right now in society, we're seeing it. Those people are fucking tired
Yeah.
because they have been sacrificing their time, their lives, their choices, everything about their days. And they're finally saying, hey, like, I want to sit at the table too, guys. And
Hmm.
all the people that took advantage of that, rightfully so, like, we taught them, like, that's the choice I mean. I taught my kids how to treat me. So
Yeah.
I know that when I say, I trust that you have got this, there's going to be pushback because
Yeah.
I taught them that I would jump in and save them and do it for them and that mom does it better.
Yeah.
I did that just like with Andrew. Like him and I had some experiences of that too. Like, well, Sarah's just got it because Sarah just jumped in and did it.
Yeah.
So when I start saying, like, I want to sit at this table too, these things are overwhelming, I need some help in these spaces, there's going to be fucking pushback because it was comfortable.
Yeah.
And we have taught people in society that we are to compromise and make everyone comfortable. And
I
I'm
know.
sitting here saying, fuck that, because me getting uncomfortable is why I finally started choosing myself. And I am so much happier and freer and more fucking alive than I've ever been. And that's the version of my kids that they need. Like, they need this version, they need this mom.
It's so okay. I think this is one of like the major points that we need to have in this conversation is comfort is such a vile thing if you let it be. I
Yes.
get like, I want a comfortable mattress. That's not the same thing. But
No.
I think there is a kind of comfort in life that if you think about it, all the times in which you've grown the most, the moments you're most thankful for were the most uncomfortable things. All
Mm,
the disruptions in your life that have resulted with really wonderful positive change,
yeah.
that's a loss of comfort. And yet, there's something in our Neanderthal minds that goes comfort good, discomfort bad. And
I know.
the older I get, the more I'm able, when I'm even in it at the time, to be, no, this is discomfort that I need. I need to step away from comfy cozy way more than I do because every time I do, I get rewarded. It's not an immediate reward. And I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest thing. But as you get older, once again, and there have been studies, me, Mr.
I
Science,
love Mr. Science Guy.
like there's the marshmallow experience with kids where you say you can have one marshmallow now or like three later. And most kids at a certain age, when they're really young, they'll say, I
Yep.
want my one marshmallow now.
Right now. Yep.
Yeah. And then as they get older, they're more likely to be like, I can wait for three marshmallows. And I think we have to learn how to do that. And we live in a world, in a society where immediate gratification is so extreme now, where
Yeah.
we can get that dopamine, we can get that serotonin or whatever it is,
Yeah.
all those happy chemicals. We can get those right on our phone in our pocket at any time, just
Yeah.
scrolling through reels or whatever it is. We can get that little dumb vacant grin on our face whenever we want it, but that's not going to give us a full real life. It's not building our relationships, it's not deepening our understanding in ourselves, it's not bettering us at all. And
Yeah.
as you get older, you're supposed to find that, oh, here is another way in which I can pursue a long-term goal and not just some immediate gratification. I want to know how you have been developing these habits to get the longer term gratification other than the immediate. Because I know you have. We've talked about
I
this.
mean, I have, but
Yeah.
really, again, it's just listening to my body and trusting that at any given moment, my body knows better than my mind does. And I say
Yeah.
that, and I know it sounds simple sometimes, but then also it's like the most confusing thing ever. But
Yeah.
it's like if my brain is telling me like, well, I should do this or I should do that, or like I can feel the thoughts racing. I
Hmm.
know that the last thing that I need to do is any of the things my thoughts are doing. I can't trust that because that's not actually living, that's anxiety and fear.
So what you're talking about is actually this is something that like old philosophers from like the 1700s used to talk about a lot is what is the mind, theory of the mind,
Yep.
and are we our thoughts? And
Right.
when you gain that ability to kind of, it's almost like you're disassociating, you know, uh, where almost like you float to the top corner of the room and you can look down on yourself and you could observe yourself. You can
Right.
observe your minds. You understand that the thoughts that you're thinking are coming through you, they're passing through you, but they aren't you. But that's
Right.
what you're experiencing right now. That's what you're explaining is
Yes.
that when you gain that ability to observe that theory of thoughts that you have and be like, oh, wow, that's wild. Wonder why this is happening.
Okay.
You've gained a deeper level of consciousness and understanding.
So that's what I mean. Is like
Yes.
I learned that along my journey without realizing I needed to learn that because I trusted my body. So like every time something in my
Yeah.
environment would come in, I'd like if my brain said I should do something even though it felt like maybe not, I wouldn't do it. If my body leaned in, it felt like expansion, even though my brain might be like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm a little afraid of that." Like the
Yeah.
Zoom calls with Dan way back in the day. Like that was the scariest shit ever, but my body said, "Let's fucking do it." And now I'm like on camera every fucking day.
We need to hit that guy up, man.
I
I love
know.
him so much. I
Me
miss him so
too.
much.
I miss him. But
He's like
like
the reason all this is going on now, too. He has
he really
created
is.
such a beautiful impact in so many people's lives. And I he
No.
doesn't even know.
He
We
has
don't
no
even tell him.
idea.
He has no
And
idea.
that's the beauty is like we don't even know that. Living our best fucking lives, but also our worst. At
Yeah,
any given moment, we are impacting people. And we
true.
just don't have any recollection because we don't always talk about it.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like it's the coolest experience. And I just had this conversation with another person the other day who wants me on their podcast.
Hmm.
And it was like this guy named Master Co. He
Slay.
is, he is awesome. I love this guy. He I don't remember where he's from, but he's like cool as fuck. He does meditation and a whole lot of like he'll do like a lecture almost, like you do some learning beforehand and then you dive deep into this meditation. And
Hmm.
inside every meditation he did, he would always have us like all this extra energy. You
Hmm.
pushed it out of your heart to the world.
Interesting.
And it was like the first time I realized like, oh, all of this extra energy I'm feeling, I could actually like disperse. I can release this shit in love. I don't have to release it through anger. I don't have to release it through yelling at people. I don't have to
Mm.
release it because my entire volcano exploded. I can use my body to release it. But then he did this experience and it was like it blew my mind. He would talk about being the observer of the thoughts. You are not the thoughts. You are not the body. You are the observer of the mind and body, the soul, the higher
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
So if you close your eyes and you say out loud, I am amazing.
I'm doing this. I am amazing.
You heard yourself say that.
I did.
So did I.
Yes, you did.
Now do the same thing. Close your eyes. Say, I am amazing in your head without saying it out loud.
Okay.
You observed that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like and when he did that I was like oh my god it like broke through something that I had never ever contemplated like holy shit you're right I've always been
Yeah.
having these conversations in my head but the thoughts that come in like the intrusive thoughts that I know aren't mine like I'm observing those
And that experience wasn't that different, to be honest. It really
right
wasn't. Yeah. So
You're observing it all.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. And that he has no idea what that has done for me. And now here I am, probably this was back probably 21, 22, and we're in 2026.
Hmm.
And I am in a place where I can respond more than react like a lot of the time, other than my children. Like out in the world, I'm really good, but my children still I react a lot more than
Right.
I care to admit.
Well, they like leap on you. So I get
They
it.
they push until like
Yeah, they
use your fucking bearings.
I don't think that you can gently resist them. They are not those kinds of human beings.
And like let's be real, there's four of them and one of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they're all vying for my attention and I'm one human and I'm like, guys, there's a whole lot of loudness.
Yeah.
I need y'all to take a breather. You all matter, but also like we got
Cool your
this.
jets. Yeah, cool your jets.
But like he impacted me and handed me
Mhm.
back choice and not letting all of these thoughts, all of these things have massive control over my life because I then realized that's the one freedom nobody can take from us, but we give away so freely, which is I could be locked up in fucking jail, but you
Mhm.
can't make me angry. You can't change how I feel about something. That's my choice.
Yeah.
I can laugh in your fucking face as you're trying to murder me. Like, and is that okay? Like, no, but the reality is like nobody can control you to the fullest unless you give them that power.
You know what I hear so much from people is like, well, I would do this if only Bethany would let me. Or, you know
Oh
what I
my
mean? If
God,
someone would just
yes.
give me the opportunity, if people would just act different, then
If
yeah, I
my
would be that
husband would
way.
just let me do this.
Oh, I hate that. But it's so
Oh.
funny because it reminds me of back when I had my anxiety attack and I yelled at my husband, Andrew. I think about how it felt. And like people talk about how they don't like Andrew, he doesn't like being on drugs because he doesn't like the feeling of losing control. You
Absolutely
know?
right. I'm right there with him.
Yeah, and like for me, drugs don't really do that. I don't like drugs because it's just like it makes me okay with being bored, and I just like don't want it. I don't
Valid.
know. I don't like what it makes me okay with, you know.
That
And
makes
I
sense.
don't. I don't know. Besides the point, but like he's so afraid of losing control, and then I think about all these people who feel like, well, everything I feel and do is contingent on something outside of me, and
Yeah.
that is such a forfeiting of control. And I think about the
100.
last time I lost control was when I had my anxiety attack. And you talk about this whirlwind of voices and how I was so inside of that and
Yeah.
informed by it. And it really felt like I wasn't the one speaking when I was
Yeah.
screaming at him. It really felt like I had been possessed by
Yeah.
some demon of fear and anxiety. And
Yeah.
like, I just losing control is something I consider to be so childish and sophomoric. I get it. Throwing a tantrum, acting crazy, acting a fool in public,
Mhm.
I think about the kids who, they dirty their diapers and all that. It's not in their control. But as you get older, you gain dominion over those things. You're able to control yourself so that you're not, pooping your pants, and I think about your emotions and how as you get older you learn to control those things.
But that's what we're facing though.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I finally realized is like I'm sitting over here and I've heard this said to me a few times over the last couple weeks, and I am now starting to understand. Like, this is my clap back. This is me like claiming me.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, well, you need to just understand. You need to just understand where they're at, their point of view. They're this, they're that. And I agree to an extent. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, understanding and gaining curiosity is a wonderful, beautiful thing, and it has freed me in a lot of areas. But there is such the thing as understanding too well.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is I've understood for so long why other people do what they do. And I've always understood that they're doing the best that they can with what they have. And when they yell, it's because they're overwhelmed and they're not actually
Yes.
trying to be an asshat. Like they're releasing energy the same way they were taught because nobody taught them emotional regulation. Because how could they when their parents didn't know either? I
Mm-hmm.
understand all the patterns so fucking well
Yeah.
that I didn't let myself live. I didn't let myself have opinions. I didn't let myself speak what I needed to speak because I always understood where that person was.
Yeah.
And then all of these experiences and this, like you say, like the losing control.
Yeah.
I was Andrew. Like I didn't like to lose control because I felt like then I was acting like my parents did when they didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the ability. And I knew better. I knew that my emotions were my own, so I wasn't going to do that. But what I'm now seeing is sometimes we lose that control at first before we can learn how to respond in healthy ways because that's our fire kicking in saying we fucking matter too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we have to claim back our authority. And that's what I'm seeing in society now. That's why I created the unapologetic mother movement. That's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and embodying that archetype of changing the role of mothers all around.
Yeah.
Because not one mother I know around me spoke choice into these kids. And not meanly, it's because they were doing the best they could with what they had, with what they were taught, which was sacrifice yourself and
Exactly.
protect these children, worry about them all the fucking time, make sure they don't go fucking die, like do this, do that. And it's like, our kids are going to be what we focus on. They need to know that they have authority over their life, they have choice over their life, and that they're fucking amazing.
There is such an issue right now going on, and I've experienced this as someone who works in the professional world of younger people not being able to do anything for themselves. Like there is
Exactly.
this huge insurgence of younger people bringing their parents with them to job interviews. And their
Yup.
parents will like interject and be like, no, you have to ask a different question, or something like that. And
I
what?
know.
Like, you need to have this certain level of autonomy to get by in the world. Yet parents are beat over the head, like you were saying, with you have to be X kind of parent. And yet that kind of parent produces a human that can't be self-sufficient.
Well, also, think about it. It's all trauma based too.
Yeah.
Because we remember, like, I was not meanly ignored, but like my mom worked third shift. My dad,
Yeah.
like, loved the man, but he was a drunk and he was at the bar or in the garage ignoring me. So I spent my every day playing in my imaginary world. I didn't have electronics because they didn't
Hmm.
exist then. Like,
Hmm.
I was on my own doing my own thing. And I am so resilient because of that, but yet we also have things that we're seeing and we're like, well, I don't want to hand this. I don't want to hand that. I don't want to be that kind of parent.
Yeah.
So all of us that experienced, the spankings or the beatings or like being screamed at, ignored, like all of those things, they're now trying to go to the opposite side of the teeter-totter.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Overcorrect.
going to do them all so you can be a kid because your ultimate goal, go and be a kid, be a kid, be a kid in the same fucking systems that we lived in that
Yeah.
say failure's not okay. You're not a kid. You must act older than your age. You must do all these things. You must be responsible. Don't fuck up. Don't do this. Oh my God, the whole world's fucking ending. But yet the parents aren't handing them any tools to handle that because they've lived the life for them.
Well, and there's so much that is changing in this world so rapidly. It's so hard to keep up
So
with.
fast.
Like, I can't imagine if my own mother, who is wonderful and she's my best friend, like I love her,
Right.
but I can't imagine her being capable of warning me about the digital world, social media, things like
Right.
that. That was not a part of her life and still is
No.
not. But I mean, like, there is so much happening in this world
Yeah.
with, social media and AI and everything going on. There is so much that is new. There is so much that is changing that
Yeah.
as a parent, how do you even know how to address this with your
Hmm.
family, with your children?
Yeah.
Because there are so many things that I can think of myself that I don't know anything about that kids are dealing with right now. I don't
Yep.
know how I would talk to them about it. So I don't think it's I get why it's so difficult to raise children correctly in our
There is no
world
correct. Yeah.
because there is no correct, and the
Yeah.
world that we grew up in is gone. It's
So
completely
gone.
vanished. And that was never the case until very recently.
Yeah.
The 20th century brought this pace of change that we've never experienced before. So there
Yeah.
is so much of a gap culturally between
There-
someone who, Andrew is 7 years younger than me. And there are so many things that I will be like, I think about, do you remember when libraries had card catalogs? And stuff like that. And he has no recollection of those
I
things.
don't either, but I also didn't get to go to the library.
Oh, well.
Like,
Okay. Well,
I didn't know that.
um, well, where I grew up, we had those fancy card catalogs. But
I
there
didn't
was
have
a
those.
VCR,
Yep.
like that's something Andrew would not know. I mean, famously at the time, no one knew really how to program a VCR. But I think even the more simpler things like rewinding a video, I think would be difficult. But we know this. There are so many technological things that we saw as common when we were young that the VHS rewinders, remember those?
I do. I loved it.
Young people have no clue what those things are.
I
And in
know.
all fairness, they're weird. Like their purpose is very odd to me,
Yeah. Just rewind it so you don't have to.
Yeah, and the whole idea of like rewinding something just doesn't make sense to them, Like that seems so silly. And looking back on it, they're kind of right.
I was telling my one kiddo about how I didn't have CDs, right? Like that
Yeah.
wasn't a thing until I was in my late teens.
Hmm.
So I had a tape player that just
Yeah.
so happened to have a recording button.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would put a blank tape in when the radio was going and I could record whatever song I wanted, but I had to wait for it to play.
Yes. And
And
you
then
would
don't
get
record
usually
over
the
it.
announcer, like, and that became part of the song to you. Do you remember that? Like,
I
and up
do.
next is so and so with this, and you'd hear that as the intro, and that would be on your tape.
Yep.
So it became a part of the song,
Yep.
which I loved. But
I did too.
yeah, they don't, which is fine. It's fine that that doesn't exist anymore. It's not
Okay.
like how dare people grow up in a world without radios and without VHS and, cassettes. It's okay. But
So
like,
that's go
how
ahead.
do we as now adults handle a world in which we don't really fully understand? We have to accept this. We don't fully understand the world that our kids are growing up in. We don't fully know how to keep them protected. But
Hmm.
we can't go overboard and like not allow them to go outside on their own or something, which is something very common in the
Yeah.
US. There are parents who get arrested because their kids are playing outside of line of sight. As a latchkey child, there were times when I hadn't seen my mother in 3 days, and that was
Yep.
not unusual amongst people my age in my area. You
Yep.
know, I would walk miles on my own, across town with my friends or whatever.
Yeah.
That was what you did. That you cannot do now because
No,
society just says no, that's negligent. That kid could get picked up and kidnapped at any time. And
I know.
when we were young, it was just kind of like, don't hang out with anyone who has a big van, and that was the end of it. No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if that guy was spooky or weird, just avoid him.
Yeah. Stranger
But
danger.
yeah, and somehow we survived. But, it's so hard because, especially right now, you are trying to teach your children autonomy. You're trying to teach your children how to go off into this big, scary, crazy world without you holding them by every limb, you
Yeah.
know? And
And I don't
yeah,
want them to. That's exhausting.
I know, but I mean, like, you're realizing the necessity of this. Society is pushing back.
Yeah.
And how do you maintain a surety? How do you maintain this sense of I know what I'm doing is right?
I have faith and trust, and it's deep. So
In what?
I have faith and trust that everything is always happening for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I got there is because it served me in my life. So I can look back at everything that I have went through and I can make that experience happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single experience, even my sexual assault at 15,
Mm-hmm.
like it saved my life 3 months later. I know it. Like I would have died had I not gone through the experience I did 3 months prior. Now, is that actually truth? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It served
Yeah.
me. I made every single experience serve me because that was my choice.
Yeah.
So, what I'm now seeing is my life led me to this because
Mm-hmm.
I chose to let it lead me. And what it led me to was to have faith and trust that life is always evolving exactly the way that it needs to. Like we are nature, no matter how much we want to fight it, no matter how much we want to sit and go, me big man, I got this, I got brain. Like it doesn't fucking matter. We are a part of nature. Whether
Yeah.
you call it God, whether you call it spiritual Buddha, like it doesn't fucking matter. We all have an energy that
Mm-hmm.
runs through all of us that is connected to nature, and we are cyclic beings.
Yeah.
So I can see it. I've witnessed it in my life and all these people's lives around me. And I'm like, I finally got to this place where I'm like, if I can sit here and say that I have all this faith and trust that no matter what happened, as my family's telling me I ruined my life because I got pregnant at 18, as they tell me all these things, and I'm sitting here like, no, it actually saved me because if I wouldn't have gotten pregnant, I'd have been in the fucking military. Like I would have joined the Marines and you wouldn't know this, Sarah. Like
Yeah.
that probably would have fucking broke me. And I believe that that was like a life quake. It was my energy coming in to redirect me because I was trying to use my brain to get me out of something that was uncomfortable.
I love that you use the term life quake. Because I remember the first time I told you that, and
Yes,
this was like years ago, and you're like,
it was.
I'm gonna use that all the time, and
It's
you,
my thing.
but it's so funny because we began by talking about kind of the peril of comfort and how life quakes are the perfect way to destroy that comfort when it needs to be destroyed. You know,
Exactly.
and I think we put so much effort into trying to keep those things from happening in our life, those life quakes. We set up all of these safety nets, and then somehow our defenses get penetrated and the ground shakes beneath us regardless. And I want to know, what is a life quake that you have been experiencing recently?
Recently,
Yeah. Do you have one you can share that doesn't incriminate anyone?
probably not.
Oh, well, I'm trying to
Okay.
think. Okay.
Okay. So my life is very loud,
Yes, it
and
is.
I like it loud
Yes, you do.
most of the time.
Yes.
I'm never bored, and I love my family. I love the things that go on around me. But the life quake that I'm experiencing is witnessing how everyone's fires around me are getting really fucking loud, like very hot, very fiery,
Hmm.
while I'm also experiencing my own. So it's like my energy, my life force, my life quake is not letting me respond the same way that I would. Because normally I would sacrifice everything and jump in and be everything that I needed to be for my family, for my loved ones, for the people that I care about the most. And I physically, mentally, and emotionally cannot do that this time. Because to do that means I have to sacrifice and give up my children, to sacrifice and give up my home.
Hmm.
And what I'm now understanding is like what a blessing that is, because now I'm seeing in all the ways, even though I thought I had taken back my power, I thought that I had this full autonomy and choice over my life. I was still giving power away by reacting to everyone else's hurts while
Yeah.
I was also hurting.
Yeah.
And my reality is I don't expect anyone to jump in and save me. I never have. I figure it out myself. Sometimes too well, like I'm learning how to ask for help and receive now. Like I know that's a thing, but it's like I don't usually need that because I trust and have faith that everything I need is going to come in and it always does. Like
I have a question for you. You're gonna
yes.
hate this. Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt. You're
go
gonna hate
ahead.
this. What do you need right now?
What do I need?
What do you need right now in your life? I can see your face. I know you hate that question.
Okay, you want to know why I hate this question right now?
Yeah, I do want to know why. And then you
Because
have to answer it.
I'm really fucking crazy right now.
Oh,
Like not crazy, but like I'm playing around in delusions. Like not weird delusions, not like crazy delusions.
explain yourself, please.
Like okay, so scripture, Bibles, like all things that
Uh-huh.
I'm not huge in, but I'm hearing a different take and there's certain things that I've always had faith in. I have
Yeah.
faith and trust that I come from a source, whether it's God, whether it's whatever, like I believe in that to my core.
Yeah.
So I know that ask and you shall receive is a thing because every time I ask, I receive, just not always in the way I want to. Sometimes it's really fucking loud and scary and like
Yeah.
life quakey. But if I ask, I receive, right?
Hmm.
So now I'm playing around with, okay, sometimes when I ask, I'm receiving a witness to an identity that I no longer want to live in. So I play in that delusion of just because that's what I see doesn't mean that's what I am in anymore. That's my old self trying to come to the table and make me get comfortable again. That's my brain trying to say, "Hey honey, remember you're nothing more than a small little girl who stays invisible." And so when I see that, instead of reacting, instead of like so like right now money is a thing.
Yeah.
Like money's been a thing for 2 fucking years for us. It's gotten louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
But I have faith and trust. I have this faith and trust that everything is always working out. It always does. We're always okay. We always end up having just enough.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, but I believe this. Why can't I get to that next level of like having an overabundance so that way I can spill and give to other people because that's what I would choose to do. What is it that's in my way, like stopping me from getting to that next level? And it's like all the power that I've given to everyone else's fires when I wasn't focusing on my own. I wasn't choosing to put the energy into my faith and my trust and building a life I truly believe in. Not giving all my attention to an old reality that no longer like I'm actually not aligned with anymore, but I didn't want to admit because I might have people walk away from me who I love desperately. So like,
Question.
yes.
How does that, and we're going to get back to what you need because
Yeah,
you still haven't really addressed it yet and don't think
I
I'm not
know.
paying attention.
I know.
Uh, so, how does this connect with you dabbling with illusion or delusion? You said delusion.
Delusion. So like
Yeah.
I found this thing called revision. So Neville Goddard and
Hmm.
Alan Watts are people that I really like to listen to. They were old philosophers from way back in the day, and they talk a lot about how our thoughts create our reality, as within, so without. It's all like very Bible oriented, but in a way that isn't like, hey, go out and control everyone through fear and like scariness. It's you are the kingdom. The kingdom's within you. You have all the power. You just have to claim it. Like you have to remember that you are the one that is bringing in these experiences. And so when I finally started like playing around with it, I was like, I believe everything happened to guide me. That it serves me. Whether that's true
Hmm.
or not doesn't fucking matter. It served my life. It was a choice I made. So now I'm choosing that old realities, things from the past that were stories that kept replaying. Like one of them in particular is no one understands me.
Hmm.
Like no one chooses to understand me because my thoughts are like so out there and they're always upset when I say them because I'm weird. I don't, I revised that. So I'm playing in the delusion of like, yeah, technically that probably was what happened, but that actually doesn't serve me because it's keeping me in a state of like, well, people don't like me or people are choosing to misunderstand me or whatever. So now I'm playing in this delusion of no, actually everyone understands me that needs to understand me.
Okay. So, a couple of things is for one, you are like one of the most likable people I know. You are so like, you are comically delightful. You know what I mean? Like,
I
almost like,
don't.
is this a
Thank you.
joke? Like, she's so pleasant. She's so lovely to be around. Like, I think about like Katie. Like,
I
Katie is just
know.
a ray of sunshine
Oh, I love
nonstop.
Kate.
And you are very similar to that. Like, you just have such a positivity. So, here's okay. I want to frame this for our listeners
Mhm,
as of all the things that I have been learning, and I know you haven't answered what you need yet, but this is going to connect with that very closely. The biggest cheat code that I've discovered in
mhm,
adulthood, the most powerful tool, the hack, that I have learned, the most influential, powerful thing that I am capable of doing is
mhm.
giving an emotional payment. Okay. And
Okay.
it began when someone would be acting, maybe I am having a hard time understanding them. Maybe I just feel like they're acting strange, they're not being their typical selves. And I would ask myself, what do they want? What does this person want that they're not telling me? And sometimes it's just, what do you want? But I want to make this deeper. So Sarah, I want you to close your eyes like you had me close my eyes.
Okay. I'm on it.
And I want you to imagine that all the wants, all the pains, all the suffering, all the things hurting you, those ideas of you not being enough, that that is manifested as a wound, a cut. a big, wide open, gaping, painful, festering, gross, disgusting wound. And I want you to imagine that you can, with just words, create a balm, some sort of healing substance that will repair that wound. And I want to know what those words are. Definitely
You were
meditate on
never
it.
broken.
So, Sarah, I want you to know something.
Hmm.
I want you to know that you were never broken.
Oh
And I
yeah.
believe that you were never broken.
Yeah.
You were never, ever broken. An emotional payment is telling somebody those things that they need to hear. You know, it's that compassion, it's that support, it's that comfort. It's giving them when someone's angry and they're yelling at you, they're not they're not trying to just get you worked up and make you feel a certain way. Their goal isn't to upset you. Their
Right.
goal is to find comfort, and they've kind of lost control in that pursuit. And
Yes.
there are times when someone is coming at you and they're screaming and they're behaving in a wild, wild way.
Right.
And if you sit back and you think, what do they want? You can usually, ah, I know. Let me tell you, you know, what you want, it'll be taken care of. We can figure this out together. I know it's hard, but the thing that we've been doing, we need to find a new solution and let's do that together. That's an emotional payment. And that's so different from fixing everything for them, from carrying
Right.
the weight of the world, you know. So with you, like that didn't cost me anything to tell you, you
Right.
know, that for one, you're not too weird. You're not difficult to understand.
No.
And you are
Right.
absolutely delightful. And you may be like, oh, I know, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. And I
No,
see
no,
the
no, no.
discomfort in you hearing that.
But the
But it's
thing
true.
is like I mentally know all of those things.
I know.
The body still is playing at being comfortable with those things. And that's
Hmm.
what I've discovered. You can know and understand everything. Like you can dive into all the fucking information there is out there. But if your body doesn't fucking feel safe with it, it will never stick.
A question for you.
Hmm.
I understand what you are saying completely. I
Right.
understand that there is a reality and, you know, but there are times when you might feel a little alone, that all the things that you have to remind yourself, you know, in your mind, I am enough. Like I am doing my best, and it is, you know, what I believe in, it's going to get me somewhere. This is going to work. I need to have faith. You know, you can say that to yourself, but to hear someone else confirm that,
Right.
what does that feel like?
Depends. Like, I don't get it often, but
I
I
know you
feel like
don't.
it mainly it's because I found a way to be my own biggest cheerleader, my
I know.
own biggest supporter. And I think that's so like I just said earlier, like I made everything happen for me. I can
Mhm.
look back and see now, like what I used to get myself to this place could be really fucking impactful if I hand these to my kids, if I hand this to society. Because in society right now, I see so many people fighting over, like, well, you're not enough for me. Why won't you do this? Like, you need to compromise. You need to do XYZ to make me comfortable. And you don't love me if you don't do this. And like, people are struggling all over.
Mhm.
And people aren't terrible human beings for saying, I don't have the space to help you right now, but that doesn't mean I don't love you. But then if that person is at the end of their rope, like then it's like, well, fuck. They're at the end of
Yeah.
their rope. So I need to sacrifice to help them because they're at the end of theirs. And like
Yeah.
nothing is ever enough in that moment. But then what I see is like, of course we got here because we've been walking too far, too long in society with something that you, like you said earlier, that world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But we're trying to make it exist because it's comfortable. It's what got us by. It's what saved us. It's what allowed us to survive. But we're not living. We're surviving right now, and most of us aren't actually even doing that.
And
And
I will
that's
say, I
the sucky
think,
part.
yeah, I think so many people, you were talking about how you're struggling with money, as am I, as is so many people in America right now. I think that is something tangible
Right.
that is a real need that
Yeah.
people have. And I think that's such a difficult thing because money is so complicated for everybody. This was the episode. Hey, y'all, if you're listening right now, go
I
back and
know.
listen to our Money Scars
The
podcast because
money
we did
one.
we did such a great job with that.
We
But
did.
what I will say is that is a tangible need. But emotional payments address untangible needs or intangible. That's the word.
Okay.
Intangible needs. They're not monetary. They're things that are about our psychological safety, about our how we balance our lives, how we grow as individuals, and emotional payments can be credited towards those things. And I think you are learning right now in your life instead of how to just give someone the tangible thing that they need. How do you give them the intangible thing that they need that will also allow them to acquire the tangible thing? And what's so interesting about giving emotional payments and why they matter is because they don't exhaust you. It's like it's like I'm no longer giving someone my blood. I'm just giving someone my exhale. And that's so much less costly for me. It does not drain me because I can exhale on anybody. I can give them my breath, which I guess in a COVID world, don't do that. But you know what I mean? Like an emotional payment, it's just it's more of a spirit thing. And it's not just, oh, I'm giving you $20.
Well,
You know?
and that's the thing that I'm starting to see is why people aren't doing that though, is
Yeah.
because like the identity piece. We're all attaching to this reality outside of us of like I am the parent, I am the sister, I am the brother or whatever. I am the partner, I am the wife.
The tangible realities. Yeah.
We attach to those roles and make that our entire being. And I remember that's exactly what I did. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I wanted in life. So I let life lead me. And it was like, oh, I've always known since I was a kid that I had this feeling like I needed to be a mom. I loved being around kids. I loved being around, other, like, especially babies, loved babies. But people always came to me for care. And I was really
Hmm.
fucking good at it. I was a safe space for a lot of people. But there comes a point when you get to this place where you realize, like, you can't be a safe space for all these people in that way. And it's like I attracted so many people in my life, and I love that. Like, my community is massive. I have met so many amazing, wonderful people. And it's like you get to this place and it's like, okay, I'm sitting here saying I'm the caregiver, I'm the nurturer, I'm the one that shows up for all these people, but in reality, how can I show up for like 500 people that I have met throughout my life that I love and adore? I can't. It's not fucking possible.
I think that is something about you that is so powerful, though, is that you ask yourself those questions. How can I show up for people? How can I be available for people? How can
Right.
I give and give and give without it being at the expense of myself?
Yeah.
And, I see you as somebody that even though there is a dramatic shift in your parenting technique,
Yeah.
that you are still giving so much of yourself to your children, just in a new way. And
Yes.
it's much less tangible and much more emotional
Yeah.
because you're empowering them now. It's almost like the difference between teach a man to fish and give a man a fish. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You used to just give them the fish, and now
Yeah.
you're like, well, let me teach you how.
Yeah.
And
Let
I
me
think
remind you that you are strong and capable and you can find the answers. I'm not sitting here saying I'm gonna like throw you to the fucking wolves like maybe we experienced, but like
yes,
at the same time, they have fucking Google that we didn't.
yeah, we
So
learned it was pretty hard knock for us, but they
there are
also
some
have they have more misinformation than ever before.
right.
Yes, all information is out there, but so are all lies. You
But they
know,
also have discernment. Like I'm teaching
do
them
they?
they know how to trust in like their body saying this is a yes, that is a no.
That's not what I mean. I mean, like, do they know when they Google something or when they look on a forum or like on social media if something is AI generated or if it's
I
just
couldn't
some
tell you. I
BS?
have no idea. But
See, but
mainly because like my oldest, he's in some places that I would never steer into. So
yeah,
like,
I
I don't
know.
he knows more than I do when it comes to a lot of that stuff, but the reality is I have faith
Yeah,
and trust. Just
yeah,
like our parents probably lost their shit and were afraid for us when all the technology started booming. Like, just like I know there's all this fear mongering around like AI and around all this other stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
listen, I know it's easy to jump to, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever and everything's gonna XYZ and like Y2K. I remember being in my house freaking out because everyone said the whole power was gonna go out and we were all
yep,
gonna die.
yep,
Like, the reality is like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We're not going to change some things. Like it just is what it is. But if we can have faith and trust that our kids are strong and capable,
yeah,
they will figure it out. They will. And my reality, and there's people that disagree with me, and I don't give a fuck anymore. I used to. I used to sugarcoat this, but I'm so sick of it because people are fighting for their normalcy. They are fighting against me for, well, it is your job to protect them. It is your job to do XYZ. And like, what if the world spits them up and, whatever? I would rather my fucking kids live their fullest, freest life and it result in less time than living 80 years of a mundane, mediocre, bullshit fucking life that they wanted to escape from every single day.
absolutely.
That's a fucking prison I refuse to hand my kids.
Yeah. And you've been in that prison. You know
I
what it's
have.
like
I
to be in
do.
that prison of the non-self-actualized, the non-self-realized person
Yeah.
where you're living a life that is dedicated to appeasing others, that
Yep.
has no connection to your true authentic self. And
Yep.
it's so this is kind of apart from what we've been talking about before, but we have no real format, so who cares? But like,
That's what
you
we do.
know, something you mentioned was that like you're not necessarily like a massive expert in the Bible, and something I went to school for, was Bible college. I went to Bible
Right.
college,
Yep.
and I'm actually like recording some episodes with my
I
friend Pastor
know.
Ben. I
Oh, what?
love that
New
man.
ones?
Yeah, and so here's
I'm
one of the things that
excited.
he's so lovely. He's one of my favorite
I
people.
can't wait.
You're gonna love it, Sarah. But yeah, I guess whoever's listening to this, hey, I am also right now. It'll probably change soon. I am on my YouTube channel, Jared Troth, just talking about Bible stuff from the perspective of an agnostic. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a Christian. I believe I don't know. I believe you don't know. I believe nobody knows.
Oh, so
Regardless
good.
of all of that preamble, which was meaningless, another meaningless kind of sidebar thing is as somebody who sits in the middle when it comes to belief, I
Right.
hear two things about how to live your life that
Mm.
you should live your life in faith and self sacrifice, or you should live your life in the truth of who you are and how you were made. There are these two contradictory messages, which
Yep.
I think the church today is struggling with deeply because
Yep.
there is an argument within the church depending on which pastor you talk to. They are going to be so dead set on, no, you sacrifice yourself, that's why you're here, for
Yep.
a higher good, for a higher meaning, for a higher purpose. And then there are other people who say nothing can come at the expense of how you were made, how God created you. However God created you, that cannot be taken away. That is a sin, and I think you are definitely team ladder, as am I. I
Yeah.
believe that our identity is the most important thing that we can discover in our life. And without that, we are completely lost. We do not know what's true. We do not know what's real about ourselves, you know? And a non-observed life is such a curse. It's such a prison because you lived in that. I lived in that where, oh, boy howdy, as someone who spent 10 years of his life closeted, I totally
Right.
understand what it means to deny yourself, to reject yourself, to sacrifice yourself because you
Yeah.
believe that there's a higher, greater, better purpose. And what I can tell you is that you can still create good in this world and be
Yeah.
true to yourself. You don't have to sacrifice yourself to make God happy. I think
Yes.
about how when Jesus started his ministry, one of the things he did was he stood in front of the temple in Jerusalem. And it was at that time they would do so many sacrifices at this temple that rivers of blood would flow from the temple. And you know what Jesus said standing in front of it? He said, "Hey, you know what? You don't have to do this. I think about there was Isaac and Abraham, one of the most awkward family camping trips ever. You know, Abraham brought Isaac up to this mountain, and he believed that God, to make God happy, he had to sacrifice his son. So he went up on that mountain to make that sacrifice. But an angel came down, and you know what he said? He said, "You don't have to do this." I think about there were these monks called the flagellant monks, not flatulent. That's a very different kind of monk. These were flagellant. They would whip themselves to the point where their backs would be just completely ruined. The clothes that they were wearing would just soak through with blood. And I got to tell you, and the church actually made an official stance on this, you don't have to do that. And the Bible says over and over, God is not looking for that. If he was hungry, he wouldn't ask you. He doesn't need anything from you. What
Right.
what he wants is for you to be good to other people. He wants you to love your neighbor as yourself. Like that's really the golden rule, and that's what everything revolves around. Not this you must deny yourself. You must reject yourself. All of your desires, bad, evil, whoever you believe you are, doesn't matter. You are who you are told you are. And the thing is that that belief that self-sacrifice is a good thing, it's holy, that doesn't make God powerful. That makes some random asshole powerful. And that's the
Yep.
thing. It's making a living human being, it's giving them power. Because I can tell you, if you're denying yourself, you are you are forfeiting over your own power and you are giving it to someone else. And I think if you really sit down and you think about those times in your life where you have denied yourself, think about who it was benefiting. Because there is somebody and they are
Always.
real. Yeah, you can name names, and so can I. And anyone else who is in that pattern of I must put to death this little piece of myself. There is a person in your life who is reaping the benefits of that. And that
Yeah.
person is not God. That is idolatry.
Yeah.
Sacrificing yourself for another human being is a sin because you are making a God out of someone who is not. And I think
Mm,
that is, you know what I mean?
I
So
do 100%.
I have such a strong feeling about this because I've lived it so
Yeah.
deeply and I've studied it. Like this is not something the Bible doesn't touch on. It is
Right.
one of like the biggest overarching themes. So many times has God said, "You don't have to do this. You don't have to torment yourself." God never asked for that. He never wanted that. He asked for the opposite. You
Right.
Why lie? Why masquerade? Why pretend? Why would God make you a certain way just so that you have to be destroyed by it? I think about all these people who are in abusive relationships, who are in abusive marriages, and they stay in them because they believe God hates divorce, which, yeah, divorce is. I hate divorce. Divorce is expensive. It's annoying.
Right.
Like, yeah, divorce sucks. Surprise. But I don't think God wants you to be abused. I
Right.
don't believe that. And you don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
100%. Yes.
So there are all these people who allow themselves to maintain this abusive relationship, this abusive structure,
Hmm.
believing it makes God happy, believing that's virtuous, believing that's what God wants. And
Hmm.
yet, throughout all of the Bible, God has said, you don't have to do that. I don't want you to do that.
And here's the thing I noticed. And it's based off of my own like viewpoints of what I would experience in my life and then looking back.
Hmm.
We accept in our life what we are willing to do to ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
So like I had a relationship way back in the day that was verbally and mentally just utter terror. Like it was so, so bad. But I tolerated it because I was mentally and verbally abusing myself. No
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
The second he put his hands on me, I was done. I was out that door
Yeah.
because I would never harm my body.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not sitting here and looking at victims and saying, like, well, this is your fault. You're tolerating it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like this reality of like, I want to give you this power back.
Yeah.
I took my power back, realizing that I mentally and verbally abused myself, which is why I tolerated other people doing it. When you stop hating yourself, when you love yourself so unconditionally. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. I'm not saying sit there on this high fucking horse pedestal. But when you allow yourself to sit at the same fucking table as everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, damn, fucking love you. That's how you walk around treating other people because hurt people, not unconditional loving ones.
Yeah.
And that's the God I've always believed in. That is the Jesus. Those are the stories. And my body told me that as a kid. Every time somebody said, like, oh, well, it's a sin to do this, or it's this, or it's that. And like, I could hear the anger and the bitterness, and my body would go like this and contract.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not true. I don't care. Like, and maybe it's true for you, but that's not true for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm finally starting to see is like, I don't want to fight your ideology. I don't want to fight how you want to live your life. I want to be able to be free to live my own. I want my children to be free to live their own. I want
Yeah.
all of us to be able to choose to love ourselves unconditionally and choose to do better each and every fucking day. And I refuse to say that fighting for my kids equals stomping out another whole set because I feel like my way's the only way. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
That's not love. That's control masked through love because you're afraid of the what ifs.
Absolutely. And once again, that's not their intuition. That's not
No,
their body. That is
not
fear.
God.
That is fear. That is
It's
fear. Fear is
fear.
absolutely not God.
No.
You know, and it's interesting. The Bible calls the devil the accuser. So when you're going, you know what I mean? So when you're
Yep,
going
I
out
like that.
accusing, and think about what Jesus did. What did Jesus do? He forgave. That was his superpower.
Yep.
Forgiveness. When people came to them, what were they really asking for? What was the non-monetary thing that people would, they walked for miles, for days to see this man. These were people, Gentiles, who, by the way, Israel at the time was very elite, I'll say. You
Yep.
know, if you weren't Jewish, if you were anything else, a Canaanite, whatever it was, you were lesser. And I think about the woman at the
Wasn't the
well.
Sumerians one of them
Yeah,
too,
the
or something like that?
Sumerians were
Yeah.
lesser, and
Yep.
you know, it's they came to Jesus. I think about like the tax collector. I forgot his name, but like there were so many people.
Matthew.
Well, yes, not the disciple Matthew, but
I was
yes,
gonna
he
say
was
I
a
love
tax collector.
Matthew.
Look at you go. We know our Bible.
I love
But
Matthew. He's my favorite.
no, there was someone else. Oh, it was a centurion. It was a Roman soldier who came to Jesus, and these people were not well respected because they were an occupying army. But he came to Jesus, and he begged for Jesus to forgive him, to give him grace. Um, and Jesus was just. I mean, Jesus had nothing but good things to say. But this forgiveness is so powerful. And I think Jesus knew that. And
Yes.
I think when this is the emotional payment, this is the non monetary thing. Jesus didn't change the world because he was a good carpenter and made material things. He changed the world because of the immaterial things he was able to give people. And
Yeah.
emotional payments, I'm going back to this because this is the most valuable lesson I have learned in my almost 40 years of being on this earth, is that the non-monetary things mean so much to so many people. If you think that you don't have an impact in this world, it's probably because you're too busy thinking about, well, what can I give somebody? Like what's a good Christmas present? Things like that. That doesn't matter
Right.
because the emotional things that you can lend out to people, the forgiveness that you can give to people is one of the most powerful, rememberable things that you can possibly do in someone's life.
Yep.
And you don't have to be a Christian because I'm not, and you're
Right.
not. You don't have to be a pew sitting Presbyterian or whatever you are to
Yeah.
channel that, to lock in to this reality that
Yeah.
forgiveness is power, that an emotional payment will get you so far in life. And it's not about manipulating, and it's not even about that. It's about creating good, powerful, positive, accepting relationships in your life. And not these ones that are just exchanges, Like I there are so many people that I deal with because they have something. The first thing that comes to mind is back when I was a crazier person, drug dealers. They are the weirdest people,
Yeah.
but you'll hang out with them because they have something you want,
Yes.
but they're not
Yep.
making my life better. They're making it worse because they're selling me drugs. But
Yeah.
I will put up with so much bizarre behavior because of that. But
Yeah.
I think about the people who give me the non-monetary things and how much I'll quote unquote put up with, which is lovely things because that's more valuable to me. That's so meaningful. That's so beautiful. And these emotional payments are this is how our relationship works, Sarah. This is why we're so connected and why we care about each other and want the best for one another and encourage one another and see each other so positively is
Yeah.
because we give each other those emotional payments. There is power in that, you
Right.
know? And what were you going to say?
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like this is such a beautiful message for the channel. Like
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you went down that path to like explain that. Because think about it, like my entire philosophy that I have everything around is unapologetic.
Yeah.
Don't believe in apologies, but it's the old world style of, well, you did me wrong, so now I'm going to sit on my pedestal and you must apologize.
And forgiveness is the opposite of that.
And so, like, forgiveness, there are a lot of people that hold on to, I will never forgive because that's not forgivable. And I get that. So, there are some people forgiveness works for. And I love that for them. And I love that we can allow all things to sit at the table. I'm not saying that unapologetic and forgiveness needs to be thrown out the fucking window. I'm
No.
saying that didn't work for me. What works for me is acceptance.
Mm. So what is the difference between forgiveness and acceptance for you?
So for as soon as I hear forgive, I hear pedestal. I hear hierarchy. I
Mm.
hear I'm sitting here on this stool of I did wrong and now I must grovel because I did wrong. And like not in a mean way, but like that's what I've seen in my reality, in
Yeah.
society around me is somebody does wrong, the other person gets upset, and then there comes a point when some people will just apologize so
Yeah.
that they can have the relationship because it doesn't really matter to them. Like the thing wasn't a big deal. But then you start realizing where people start doing away with parts of their own reality because they
Mm.
don't want to do harm to somebody else because, well, then you need to now apologize because that hurt me. But it's like, did I hurt you though? Like, I hurt you because you chose to be hurt, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
And me being who I am sometimes hurts people. Like, I say things that
Yeah.
are brutally honest sometimes. And I don't say it to be mean, I say it to be kind to us all because
Yeah.
to keep it hidden is not going to free us. I refuse to apologize for that, but I will sit with acknowledgement of how that hurts somebody. So
Yeah.
that's the acceptance of I accept that the thing happened. I
Mm.
accept that bad shit happens. doesn't mean I have to agree with it. And the reason I love it so much is because I look around and I have watched people like us who are
Yeah.
like, we're just out here trying to live our fucking lives. Like, we're weird and quirky and amazing. And like, we have all these flavors and we have all these friends that are all flavorful. And then I see other people who are doing the same thing in their own way, who want to stomp us out because our way of life threatens theirs.
It's
Because
fear.
and because they think that we're trying to say we need to agree. And I get that. We have been using the word agree. There's a lot of people that are like, you have to agree with my lifestyle. You have to agree with how I live with my life. But reality is we don't need agreements. We need acceptance that everyone gets to choose.
Yeah.
Acceptance that your kids are going to be who they are. They're going to make choices. You may not always like them. You don't have to agree, but we can accept it and move the fuck on because that's what allows us to truly have the emotional connections that we're all really grasping for. Because
Can
you
I?
asked me earlier what I needed.
Yes.
I need more emotional connection. True connection through acceptance of we're all doing our best. And can we assume the best of people? That's what I need. I need to see the good in life again and not be told I'm wrong for seeing the good
Yeah.
because where I put my focus, attention goes. And I refuse to think that's bad.
Can I tell you something?
Absolutely.
Out of almost everyone I know, and this is absolutely true, I think you see the good more than almost anyone I know. I think you see the good in other people. I think you have a capacity to connect with people in an emotional level that I've never seen in anyone else. It's so funny because I love how you are confessing this, that these are the things you need. And I see it as not only are these the things you need, these are the things that you have in abundance.
Yeah.
And this is such a core part of emotional payments is that receiving these things, giving these things, it does not deplete you, you
No.
know? And that's the power of an emotional payment is that not only does it rewards the person who's giving it and receiving it, you know? And Sarah, like it's so wild to me. I want to circle back to something you said because this is so core to you.
Mm-hmm.
We're comparing forgiveness with being unapologetic. And I
Right.
think that forgiveness exists in a paradigm that is fallen, damaged. Like forgiveness exists because we believe that someone is mad at us, that God is angry. There's this constant belief that God is angry. And we
Yeah.
need that forgiveness. We need to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, this is still something I struggle with. Andrew gets so frustrated with me because I'm always like, "Are you mad at me? Do you forgive me? I know I did this. Can you forgive me?" He's like, "I don't care." But this is the thing: is that you graduate from this toxic mindset of "I need forgiveness" to unapologetic, because
Yeah.
what you're saying is there's nothing that needs to be forgiven. That
100%.
we're cool,
We're all
we're
good.
good. It's
Yep.
like forgiveness is such a it's such a just whatever. It's so remedial. It's so like small
Yeah.
compared to where we are, how we connect. What you mean to me is so beyond this transgression forgiveness paradigm. And
Yeah.
that really it's just being unapologetic is about showing up. Being unapologetic is about being your true self in front of someone, having that confidence, that power, and that compassion, that comfort.
Yeah.
Is all the positive things appear once you're healed. And there's this pre-healed existence. If you feel like you need forgiveness, there is a wound on your soul. And when you closed your eyes earlier and you thought about the words that make that balm, I want you right now, Sarah, because you're very good at this. I want you to close your eyes and imagine all those people who have that wound on them, these people who are seeking forgiveness. And what words do you have for them that will create that healing balm on that wound?
Nothing you could do in life ever makes you less. Like you are more than enough exactly as you are, no matter how much you've fucked up, no matter what decisions you've made, you are still perfect. Not
Mm,
perfect like you're never gonna fuck up, because that's what we came here for. You're perfect because you exist. You're worthy because you're alive, because you're a living, breathing fucking miracle. And yeah, people do some hard, awful shit. And it sucks. But holding on to that, holding on to those grudges, holding on to the hurts and the pain, it's like drinking fucking poison and expecting them to die.
yeah.
And I knew that when I was born.
Mm,
And it has saved me through so many things.
yeah.
And I didn't realize how fucking rare it was until I started playing around in the world and was like, oh, like people actually don't believe this. Like they do not agree.
Yeah.
But it's you're fun. We're not fucking broken. We're all here to be fucking humans. We're not here. And I suffer from this sometimes. I tried to do some spiritual ascending and like, I want to be my best highest self. Well, sometimes my best fucking highest self means I'm going to say the most unhinged shit. Because even when I'm saying the most unhinged shit, it's the exact wake up call that some people need.
Yeah.
I have that kind of faith in the world. I think we're all being moved because of that. Because we've held on to shit for so long that sometimes shit has to get really fucking loud for us to finally say, okay, fine, enough. I guess I'll do it. Like, that's where I'm at. And it's wild because you knew me 2 years ago. Like that wasn't me. I was meek and quiet and I was afraid to even say anything because holy shit, my whole
No,
face would go red.
I really saw you as somebody who, it's a biblical metaphor, but it was kind of like somebody who put a shade over a light, and it was just that Sarah was always there. You just kind of had you had a sheet over yourself, you know, and I see you pulling that off constantly because it loves to creep back on.
It
And
does.
I see you as someone who's gained almost this kung fu grip on it. That's like, nope, get off,
We're done.
Yeah. And I see you fling it off of you so often and just be like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm here now. I'm shining. And that's so powerful. And I see you being confronted with so many opportunities to do it. And
Yeah.
you do. Because there was a time when you were told, no, no, no. Don't you dare. Don't you dare
Oh
shine your
no,
light.
don't do it.
Yeah.
You'll get seen, you'll get hurt.
And now I think you are framing these situations so differently as like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to shine. And
Yeah.
you're doing it.
I
And I'm very proud of you for
well, and more so I'm realizing, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's like, I don't know, we have choice. And like I think that's what all that led me to is I chose to be invisible and small and quiet and meek
Yeah.
and not let people see my fullest self because it was easier. I didn't have to deal with people's emotions. I didn't have to deal with people getting like in an uproar or misunderstanding me or arguing my point of view. Like I didn't have to live.
Yeah.
I didn't have to because it was easier like that. But I didn't trust myself.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm doing now is I am my biggest supporter. I am my own unapologetic mother,
Yeah.
which is why I have the Unapologetic Mother book, the Unapologetic Living Village, where the Unapologetic Mother archetype lives, because my mission is that we don't need anyone outside of us anymore. We
Yeah.
want them. And that is more powerful when we choose somebody instead of need them.
Hmm.
And that frees us all. But how do we do that? Because what are we all out here looking for? I was looking for a mom to see me and accept me, not try to fix me.
Yeah.
And I can't expect my mother to be what I need her to be when she's got her own hurts, her own wounds, and her own choices. She has her own autonomy over her own life too. And she's 100% right for what she's going through. And she
Mhm.
shouldn't have to sacrifice because I said so. And I feel like that so deeply for everyone around. Like, I'm not saying just even for kids. Like, there, I mean, yes. Do I want to show up as my best self for my kids? 100%. And I'm going to continue. Am I going to do that all the time? No. But sometimes me showing up as fucking crazy mom is a blessing because then they see how I repair on the other end. And if they never saw that, they'd never experienced repair before. And then they'd go off in the adult world and they'd think everyone's supposed to be just sunlight and rainbows and treat them like they're kings of their castle. And then the reality hits of like, no, that's not actually how it works.
Yeah.
And then they won't accept repair. They won't know how to have those conversations. I'm teaching real fucking humanity.
Hmm.
Not spiritual bypassing, not what people say is toxic positivity. Now, don't get me wrong. I am going to assume the best always because what I fucking focus on grows.
Yes, it does. You're proving
But
you so much proof is in the pudding there.
yes, like why? If I have two choices and my choices are sit over here and be bitter and miserable or make something be great so I can let it go, I'm gonna choose to let it the fuck go so I can live my life.
As you should.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, we need to learn how to be our own parents, our own mothers, our own nurturers, so that when we fuck up, we're not looking to somebody outside of us to say it's okay or whatever. We can be like, you know what, girl? You did your best, and it was not the best today, but it's okay. You got this, and you can try again tomorrow. And that feels so much better because then we're looking at other people, and when they fuck up, that's how we're going to show up for them. They did their best. I assume that they were doing what they could. I assume that they maybe have too much on their plate right now.
What a beautiful bow to put on this conversation, I must say. I think, we covered a lot. We talked
Yeah.
about the lessons that we learned being we are middle-aged, Sarah. I
We
think
are.
that's it's
I'm
I
okay with
think
it.
society doesn't want to tell us that, but we're in our late 30s and that is the
I'm okay with it.
midpoint of the typical American life right now, which is something we can accept. But we've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah.
And I think the summation of it is we're the adults in the room. Somehow that happened. You
I
know?
know.
How did we
I know.
became the grown-ups and we need to start owning that role. And
Yeah.
not only do we need to start owning that role, we need to accept the reality that we're capable of doing it. You
Yeah.
know?
And that's
You-
what I mean about the
Yeah.
unapologetic mother, because
Yeah.
think about it. How many parents consciously thought, like, oh, maybe I should hand back the authority to them?
Yeah.
Because we were raised that they were the authority. They were the all-seeing choice. Like you had to listen, or you're gonna maybe get your ass beat, or whatever
Whatever.
else
Yeah,
could
yeah.
have happened. But nobody ever said, hey, you know what? Like you got choice. You got an adult. You can make life whatever you want. And should we have needed that? Maybe not. But when you're raised to always ignore your choice, that everything you choose is wrong, that the judgments over the choices you make are then criticized because they're not what your parents would choose or family members, whoever. Like that weighs on you. That becomes your inner compass. So like there's a lot of us, at least myself, I know me and everyone I've worked with. We finally wake up and realize like, "Oh shit. I am the adult to your adult and I never claimed it because I've been literally sitting here thinking I'm still 15 fucking years old because I didn't realize I had fucking choice."
So this is the last thing I'm going to say to you and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
But, I this is what I want you to know. I
Yeah.
want you to know that you are not small and you never were.
Yeah.
And nobody was made small. No one
Yeah.
was made to be small. We
No.
build these white picket fences around our lives and never venture past it. But there is so much power beyond it. And the universe is waiting for us. It wants to know what we're going to do next. It
Yep.
is the world around you, the people in your lives are waiting to see your next step, what you are going to do, what you are going to say. And there is so much power in that.
Mhm.
Recognize that, own that, and
Yeah.
do something great with it.
And if that life quake is coming in,
Mm-hmm.
just remember it's happening for you and you have choice. And if you make it for you or if you let yourself drown in
Yep. Hey,
it.
we've all done both.
We have
So
definitely done both.
we can flounder. I could definitely flounder. I've done it. But yeah.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It all leads to a lesson some point. Like it's all for the story. Like fucking A. How many times have we walked through shit that led to a really fucking great story though?
Absolutely. Well, and I
Like
think
just
plug
saying.
Sarah, I think you need to plug your book because that's a great story.
My story, the unapologetic mother
Yeah,
story.
plug your book. Where do I get it? What
I
tell
mean,
tell the audience
it's
about it.
on Amazon, but I love my book. I do. It's great, but really, like let's do the like watch the episodes in the YouTube channel. Like live some
Yeah.
fucking life. Get into I'm getting ready. I'm super excited. You don't even know this yet.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I am launching something pretty magnificent in probably the next month. It is the Unapologetic Mirror.
Okay. Say
It
more.
is going to be a foundational series of walking someone back home to their choice. Walking them back home to you're not too much, you never were.
Mhm.
Becoming your own unapologetic mother or human, whatever support system you need, but you will be walked back to that choice.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in a program-ish. Like, I don't like programs. It's stupid. Basically, it's just something you can listen to, a foundational series that you can put in the background because that's all you need. You don't need more fucking information. You need more permission that you can drop the shit that you picked up that isn't fucking yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm creating that. That's super fun, but also it's a live experience, which means they can do, oh, we're going to do 12 weeks of every week pattern seeing. So when life gets fucking loud and it's super hard sometimes to have that voice that can make something actually happen for you because it's so loud that you just want to drown in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we join those calls and we bring them to the table so we can witness it in others and collectively change the fucking story. I'm
Well,
so
you better provide a link to that in the description, by the
I
way.
mean, I will. It's almost done. I'm working the fine tunings, but I'm so excited about it and I haven't spoken on it because I wanted to make sure it's what I wanted to do. Like I refuse to put anything into the world that I'm not willing to commit to.
Oh yeah. Well, you have your little test kitchen because I know that you have your groups and you have so many things that you work on
I
here and there.
do, but
And
now it's all fine tuned. Now
it's
it's
coming
like,
together.
yeah,
It's really coming together.
I got my
So,
ego.
hey, anyone who's still listening, check out the description. Sarah's going to provide links because she does all that. I do. I just show up. You do
You
all
do.
the hard
You're
stuff.
the best.
But like, subscribe, y'all, because these are really beneficial. These are wonderful, wonderful tools for you. And you're driving in your car, you're doing whatever you want. This is a great companion.
Yeah,
Well, you're just trying to pass the time anyway. You know,
exactly.
I mean, yeah, you can listen to that Ariana Grande album one more time, or I don't know what you listen
I
to.
mean, I will never say not listen to some fucking music that you're vibing to.
That's fair. I mean,
But
yeah, we
like,
can't really compete with that. But
how many fucking podcasts do we listen to that give more information? Like, we don't
Mhm.
need more information. I'm not saying information isn't helpful, but I feel like the people I'm talking to that are gravitating to you and I,
Yeah.
those are the people that have been trying to find that fucking center for so long. More information's not going to help. What you need is permission to let go of the shit that's not serving you so you can live your actual fucking life.
Well, and it's about who you spend your time with. And maybe you don't have someone like Sarah in your life who is there to take care of you in a way that isn't going to just make you codependent.
Fuck yeah. No,
There,
none of that shit.
if you want to spend time with the right people, you have come to the right podcast. And I think it's really
You're
important
so
to
funny.
spend some time with Sarah. Where's the lie, girl? Where's the lie?
I mean, I don't do right and wrong because I'm definitely wrong for some people.
Oh, I'm sure, but no, I think, people will understand when they feel it, they feel it. But
They do.
you
And
know, I
they'll
I
know if
just
it's right for them in their body. They'll feel the pull and it may feel uncomfortable, but deep down they'll know. They'll
I
know
just
like that's the environment I want to be in.
and I think the people listening understand that.
They do.
So,
There's so many that are just looking for that home and
yeah.
they're not realizing that the home they're looking for is within them. They just need to remember it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much
Of
for having
course.
yet again another amazing conversation.
Of course.
And just you're my favorite human. I just adore you.
I you know, I always love every moment we spend together, even if it's not being recorded.
You're the same.
And I miss you. I miss you in person. I get back to Chicago, or I need to come to Michigan. I don't know what, but I miss you, and I hope we can do something fun and stupid soon.
Yes. That it's on the books. We're just gonna make it happen.
Yeah. You know what? I'm naming it now. I'm putting it in the
Yep.
universe.
It's happening. We're gonna do something this summer. It's gonna happen.
Well, and we were talking about having an Andrew off because we both have our Andrews, and we need to see which Andrew can out Andrew the other Andrew.
Ooh, we just got a camper and we could totally like we're talking about going to Ohio to Hocking Hills. I'm just saying. Road
Ooh,
trip.
I would love a road trip. That'd be super cute.
Be super fun. We could all hang out together. It'd be great.
That would be really fun. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, who knows what's in the future, but yes, we need to plan something. I
Okay.
hate camping, but I'll do it with Sarah.
To all that is listening, thank you. I adore you. Remember, you are enough and always have been. And remember, you can change your environment. You'll change your entire life, but the inner environment is what's going to shift everything. So much love until next time. See you
Love
soon.
y'all.
Love ya.
If something in this stayed with you, if it shifted something or made you see your life a little clearer, hold on to that. Not tightly or forcefully, just enough to acknowledge that something in you responded. You don't need to prove anything from here. You don't need to rush into any change. Just stay connected to what you felt. Because that's how your path unfolds. Not by following someone else's way, but by recognizing your own way, moment by moment. I'm walking mine. You're walking yours. And sometimes our paths meet here. So take what's yours and let the rest fall away. Come back to yourself. Everything rearranges from there.
Flow like rivers, wild and free. Dive into oceans that call to thee. Breathe in the wind, let it carry your name. Unapologetic living is your claim. Let the waves whisper your story bold. Their rhythm eternal, their wisdom old. Echoes of dreams in the sea foam's dance. Find your truth, take the chance. The tide is rising, beckoning your soul. Crash through the doubts, make yourself whole. The world is vast and the water's deep, where courage wakes and fear's asleep. In every droplet you're alive again. With every ripple a new world begins. No need to hold back, embrace the stream. Unapologetic living, your lasting theme. Let the waves whisper your story bold. freedom to be